Insurance is a protection for yourself, for your property, for all the necessary things. Intentional cheating is dangerous. This is not allowed and this is not considered to be valid in general insurance. Please try to understand what they are trying to say by applying for an insurance. It is not required at the time of inception. It is required at the time of the incident. That is more important for all of us. Good morning and welcome to this session 4 in Principles and Practice of General Insurance, 4th semester BCom, where we continue to talk about the fundamentals of general insurance because this has got a continuation to the previous session. Now going further, we want to talk about a very important factor called as misrepresentation that happens in insurance. Why does this misrepresentation happen? There are two factors behind it. One is innocent and the other one is intentional. By default, that is, let's say that I did not know. Over a period of time, by filling up the application form, I missed certain important details, not wantedly. It just went out of my mind, went out of my sight. So there I claim an innocent. I say that a person who states the fact in belief or expectation that it is right, but it turns out to be wrong. I had told the company that my organization is located in so and so place, but it has so many square feet, but unfortunately that so many square feet turned out to be wrong. I understand that as innocent, by mistake. It is not intentionally done. It was just out of sight that it went through. But when you go back and you talk about this intentional factor, that deliberate misrepresentation that arises when the proposer intentionally tries to cheat the organization or the insurance company. Now, in this case, what happens is that I want to claim more money from the insurance. I want to do something which is out of the scope of the organization. I want to do something illegal in my mind. So what do I do is that when I take up the insurance, wantedly, I go ahead and write some facts which are not true. Wantedly, I go ahead and start putting in details which are not valid at all. So that time, my intention itself is to cheat the organization and my aim here is not something to be truthful. So intentional cheating is dangerous. This is not allowed and this is not considered to be valid in general insurance. Now, the non-disclosure says very clearly, again, suppose this arises when the person is not aware of the facts and because of it, the significance arises in terms of what has happened and he does not know. Now, many times what happens is that people are very enthusiastic about starting a business. The reason is that they believe that their ideology is more stronger, the results will be much more stronger, and I will make profits. But over a period of time, they don't try to understand the inherent risk that is associated with that business. Why don't I understand the inherent risk? Why don't I understand the inherent factors clearly? Makes me really worried. Why? Because let me just tell you here. Sometimes what happens is that people tend to oversee things and they forget to go ahead on the disclosure factor. They forget to tell that these are all the factors that are involved. So most of the time people try to claim the innocence. Then they say that, yes, I should have realized this. Acceptable. But then there are people who will deliberately try to hide facts and make the insurance company incur a loss, which is not appreciated, which is not needed. Why? Because if you know that your business involves a particular level of risk, why don't you disclose it to the company? Why don't you take a step forward by telling the truth? But most of the people do not do that. They want to cheat the insurance company. They want to make more money out of the insurance company. So what they do, they deliberately hide the facts, which is definitely not needed. So that is why the companies ask you several times, have you completely gone through the details? Have you completely gone through the insurance document? Have you read it thoroughly? All the words, all the details, all the matter of fact that has been written there, is it true to your knowledge? Once you have understood it, then please sign on the insurance form. Now the next thing, how to deal with breaches. Suppose the insurance company finds out that yes, there has been a breach of the fundamental principle. Then what do I do? In many cases, what happens is that insurance is something that you don't come to know at the very instance. This is not a 1 mark question, or this is not like choose the correct answer where you will get the answers immediately, where you get the solutions immediately. This is over a period of time. This takes a little bit of amount in terms of understanding where exactly the person has tried to cheat the insurance company, where exactly the mistake has gone. Is it from the insurer or the insuree side? So there are a lot of factors that you have to understand. So that is why what the insurance company tries to do is whether the breach is innocent, whether it is deliberate, is it material to the risk or immaterial to the risk. Because sometimes what it happened is that the risk factor is not even materialized. It doesn't even count into the picture. There are sometimes, because of this factor, the risk level might go up. So you need to do a careful analysis. You need to understand very, very clearly that what are all the factors that are coming around in terms of making this even more complicated. So that is why I would always say that when you are dealing with the breaches, let us be very, very careful. That is mandatory. That is needed at this point in order to understand how things are going further. Now, the principle of insurable interest. This is very, very important for us. Why? Because one of the essential ingredients of an insurance contract is that the insured must have insurable interest in the subject matter of contract. That is mandatory, needed. Insurance without insurable interest would be a mere wager. Now that will be a mere wager with, it is unenforceable in the eyes of law. So that is also quite understandable in nature that, when you see that insurance without the insurable interest would be a mere wager and it is unenforceable. So it does not hold any water. So it has to be enforceable by law. So you need to understand that why am I insuring certain thing? Because there is an insurable interest. There is something at stake. Let's understand the importance of the property, the building, the organization, the material, whatever I'm trying to insure. I am not going to insure things because I just want to do it. I'm not going to insure it because there's an insurance available. I am doing it because for the purpose of business continuity. I am doing it because there is a valid reason behind it. Now, for example, if you look at Serum Institute, when a fire broke out in one of its factory, they would have taken it with utmost serious. Why? Because they don't want the incident to be repeated again. They don't want to see that there is a problem that has caused. The last year, when there was an issue in LG Polymers in Visakhapatnam, again, that was a serious incident altogether. The company now would have taken enough measures and steps to see that that incident again does not happen. So there is some insurable interest that is involved that one has to understand, one has to clearly go through. Now, for example, there have been several cases. Even recently, there was a building that collapsed in the city of Mumbai because of the quality of construction was poor. And when we know that these kind of incidents are bound to happen, the need for insurance is more from a protection standpoint, not just for the sake of claiming money. So very, very important here that we need to understand the insurable interest. The second thing is that it has to be enforceable by law. It is not something that we are just talking over the line, we are just talking over the pages, and when we go in for an insurance, it has to be enforceable by law. It has to come under the purview of law. Then it makes it all the more interesting. Afterwards, the subject matter of the insurance contract may be a property, may be an event or anything, but it is not for the property or potential availability where it is the pecuniary interest of the insured, the property or the liability for which it is insured. So that's why I try to tell it very, very clearly here is that it is not just for the money's sake. It is not just for that an insurance available, everybody take it. Now, why I re-emphasize on this is that coming to a practicality, the real part of it, today when you go and buy a mobile phone, immediately the shopkeeper would offer you an insurance package. He says that, sir, why don't you take a protection plan for the next 1 year or 2 years? But 90% of us do not want to take it. Why? Because we feel that's an extra burden. We feel that nothing will happen to the mobile phone. Why we need to worry so much about it? We have the mobile phone, things will go on fine. Why? Because we just believe in a positive attitude. But the reality is that if something happens, at that point of time, we need a protection, we need a support to fall back. So insurance is always about future, what can happen. Insurance is not for the sake of taking it, for the sake of filling it up and going and telling it to your friends that even I am insured. No, insurance is a protection for yourself, for your property, for all the necessary things. So insurance always needs to be taken into account seriously. Moving further, insurable interest definition, the legal right to insure arising out of a financial relationship recognized under the law between the insured. Between whom? The insured and the subject matter of insurance. So there is some financial relationship. That is what makes it even more interesting. Why am I insuring my building? Why am I insuring my company? Or why am I insuring my organization altogether? Because there is a financial implication that is involved. Suppose the financial implication is not there. Suppose there is no insurable interest involved in that. Then I don't have to worry about it. I would not go ahead and insure a pencil which I bought from a stationery. Why? Because it doesn't really matter me. But I would definitely insure a building or an organization which is worth several crores, because that will impact the life of hundreds and thousands of people. So when we talk about the insurable interest, it becomes very, very important for all of us to understand here that there is some financial relationship that is being created between the insured and the subject matter. Then only this becomes an interesting factor. Moving further, how is insurable interest created? 1, by the common law. 2, by the nature of contract, and by the statute. That means by the nature of the organized, by the nature of the insurance itself. So by the common law, by the contract, and by the statute, it becomes important that the insurable interest gets created. Once it is created, then automatically there will be a connection, there will be a link between the subject matter and the insurance company. Why? Because they are closely connected. There is some contract, there is some need, there is some definition that is being put in. Now, it becomes very, very important for all of us that next time when we go for an insurance, it might be a renewal of your car insurance or a bike insurance or any other subject matters altogether, please read the document. Please try to understand what they are trying to say by applying for an insurance. They are not just giving an insurance as a renewal form. It is not something that every year you go put a signature and get the renewal done. What they are trying to tell you is that there are certain factors. You are subjected to state law. You are subjected to certain contract. You are subjected to certain external conditions. So all those factors have to be understood clearly by the person who is taking that insurance. Then he needs to sign upon. Then only the insurance interest will be created and there will be a meaning for the purpose of insurance that is being taken. Moving further, when should the insurance interest exist? Now, in a life insurance, insurable interest must at the time of inception and not during the time of claim. Why? Because life insurance is quite interesting. Life insurance is something that you get after your life, not during your time of your life or during your time of your existence. Something happens to you, some unforgettable incident, some kind of thing that happens where you lose your life, then automatically the money goes to your dependents. So the life insurance comes in existence after your life. Whereas in the case of general insurance, the insurance comes into action when that particular incident or when that particular loss is happening. So that's why we say that it is not required at the time of inception, it is required at the time of the incident. That is more important for all of us. Now, you might have registered for a mobile insurance, you might have registered for a vehicle insurance, you might have registered for a property insurance. That doesn't matter. But when does it come into force? When does it come into application is when something happens to it. When some exigencies or emergencies crop up in your life, then that is the time when this insurance comes into picture. As long as the ship is going on fine, it is sailing in the calm seas, you don't have to worry about the marine insurance. But if something happens to the ship, then that is the time the insurance comes into picture. So that's why we say that general insurance is not at the time of inception, but at the time of loss or claim. So in property or everything, the insurable interest at the time of inception as well as at the time of loss and claim. So general insurance has got a slightly different definition when you start seeing it versus that of life insurance. Now, moving further, the principle of indemnity, very, very important factor. What does the word indemnity means? It is defined as financial compensation sufficient to place the insured in the same financial position after the loss as he enjoyed immediately and then when the loss has occurred. Now, what has happened here is that please try to understand, when you are having an organization, when you are having a system in place, so you will be enjoying the benefits of the organization by doing business out of it, by doing some commercial activity out of it. But God forbidden, some kind of incident that happens over that particular place and that leads to a very big loss in your life, then you will not be in a position to back up. So in that instance, in that position, you need somebody to come and put you back into normalcy. That is where insurance comes into picture. They provide you a financial compensation, a financial reward where they say that, do not worry, sir, in case of emergencies and exigencies, we will back you up. We will come back, we will put you back to the normal state so that your business is not affected and you continue to enjoy the same benefits that you were doing before the loss occurred. So this is why the principle of indemnity matters a lot when it comes to the general insurance. So let me just make you understand the financial compensation is very, very important. Why? Because that is why we go for an insurance. So at any point of time, if you have a well secured insurance for you, you don't have to worry. Why? Because the insurance company will definitely give you 70 to 80% of the loss will definitely be covered. In certain cases, it might be up to even 100%. Now, with this, I come to the end of this particular session. I hope and believe that all the contents that have been spoken in this session will be of a great help and resource to you. In the upcoming session, we will try to understand more about this insurance sector. Until then, stay tuned, stay blessed, and stay enlightened forever. Thank you once again for joining me today on this session.